In today's video, we'll be looking at real encounters with mysterious and scary creatures. There are some shocking captures on our list today, so make sure you are comfortable because it's going to be a wild ride. A family set up a camera to monitor their kids at night, expecting to catch just the usual bedtime antics. Instead, the footage revealed something far more chilling. A dark, shapeless figure with glowing eyes, standing silently in the corner. It didn't move or make a sound, just stood there as if watching the children. When they played back the recording, they couldn't believe their eyes. No one knew what it was or how it got there. But the sinister presence left them shaken and desperate for answers. Uninvited guest. After this couple had just bought their first home, they stood outside to capture the moment. But later, when they looked at the footage, they noticed something eerie, a figure lurking behind the door. It had long, dark hair and glowing eyes, just standing there, watching. They didn't see anyone when they took the video, but now, there it was. Chills ran down their spines as they realized that someone or something might have been in the house with them all along. Ouija gone wrong. Playing with a Ouija board usually felt like just harmless fun, until it didn't. This girl and her friends were in the middle of the game when everything went wrong. Out of nowhere, a dark, creepy figure appeared in the room, lingering at the edge of the light. Its glowing eyes stood out, staring at them as it moved slowly in the background. Terrified, her friends immediately bolted, leaving the room behind. The video quickly spread online, leaving everyone questioning what really happened. Prayer gone wrong.
Take these demons away from my house.
Desperate for peace, a man knelt down in his haunted house, quietly praying for protection. The uneasy atmosphere had worn him down, and he hoped this would bring comfort. But instead, the room grew colder, and suddenly, objects around him started moving. Some even flew across the room. The air felt thick, and he could sense the anger of whatever was haunting him. The more he prayed, the more chaotic the room became, as if the entity was furious. Terrified, he bolted from the room. Midnight intruder. Ever had that feeling like someone's watching you while you sleep? One man didn't just feel it, he lived it. He was sound asleep when a loud creak jolted him awake. Looking up, he saw a dark, shadowy figure forcing the window open above his bed. Heart racing, he jumped up to check, but the room was empty. Just as he tried to make sense of it, the figure reappeared and grabbed him. Panicked, he broke free and ran out, calling the authorities. When they arrived, the room was untouched, no sign of anyone ever being there. Uninvited guest.
Oh my God!
One evening, a family was chilling in the lounge watching TV when the son suddenly spotted something odd. A dark figure peeking from behind the door. He pointed it out to his mom, who brushed it off and calmly went to close the door, reassuring him it was nothing. But just seconds later, the door creaked open on its own. The mom, now visibly uneasy, spoke firmly into the air, saying, "This is my house."
Go in, this is my house!
Despite her words, the door remained open, and a heavy, eerie stillness settled in the room.
Go in!
Vanishing laughter. Imagine hearing laughter from an empty room. A woman was relaxing in her living room when sudden, loud giggling broke the quiet. Confused, she followed the sound to the kitchen, and that's when she saw it. A child was hiding behind the shelf, peeking out. She took a cautious step forward, but just like that, the child vanished. No footsteps, no trace, just silence. Stunned, she stayed rooted to the spot, trying to process what just happened. Oh no! A group of friends were chilling around a table, playing a laid-back game of Uno. The vibe was light, and a plastic cup sat near the cards. Just part of the setup. Suddenly, without any warning, the cup slid across the table a few inches. Everyone froze, eyes locked on the cup. No one was near it. The room fell silent as they tried to process what just happened. One friend couldn't take it. She jumped up, and the rest followed, scrambling out of the room, leaving the game and the mysterious cup behind. Date gone wrong.
I've been wanting to try this place for so long.
A woman went out on what she thought would be a nice, chill date. Things started off fine, but then something strange happened. Mid-conversation, her voice suddenly changed. Deep, almost inhuman. Her eyes seemed different too, colder as she whispered, "I'm possessed." The guy just sat there, speechless, trying to process what he'd just heard. Was she joking, or was there something darker at play? Either way, the mood was officially ruined, leaving him wondering if he just witnessed a real possession or a strange prank.
I swear to God, I'm like super normal besides that.
That's fine. Yo, what?
Sorry,
Creepy balloon. Balloons are usually harmless, but this one was far from ordinary. In the middle of the night, a woman noticed something strange. A nearly deflated balloon slowly floating up the stairs, as if it had a purpose. Intrigued and a bit creeped out, she grabbed her phone and started recording. The balloon moved steadily, almost like it was being guided by an invisible force, heading straight toward her room. Ghostly follower. One man decided to visit the town's infamous haunted house, driven by curiosity to see if the stories were real. He wandered through the dark, dusty halls, filming his adventure. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary at first, but later, when he reviewed the footage, his heart raced. A childlike figure appeared just behind him, following his every move. The child remained at a distance, never fully in focus, and then, just like that, it darted off in the opposite direction. Chills ran down his spine as he realized he wasn't alone in that house after all. Beast from hell.
Mahe, essa onda.
While waiting in the traffic, the woman noticed something moving on top of a slanted tree branch. Thinking it was a giant bird or something, she zoomed in on the creature. But what she actually caught was an unearthly entity perched at top of the branch. The creature had crab-like legs and mutated further with wings coming out of its back. The creature must have seen the lady looking at it, so it flew away and never appeared again. But since the footage was released, no one can find who the original uploader is or where she is.
Ay, güey, puta!
Demonic girl.
Acércate tú, yo no voy a ir contigo. Ven. Ven, pequeña.
A video has been making waves online, and it's seriously creeping people out. In the clip, a little girl just stands outside a door, her expression distant and kind of unsettling. A woman inside calmly reaches out, like she's trying to get the girl to come in. But here's where it gets weird. As a few people moved closer, curious about what's going on, the girl suddenly vanished. The whole vibe was just off, like the girl had never really been there in the first place.
A ver, ven, acércate. Quiero verte, pequeña. Ven para acá, ven.
Not grandma anymore. The footage showed someone's grandma sitting up in a way that didn't look human, her mouth wide open as she stared right at the camera. Then she got up, moving in a stiff, unnatural way, and began crawling around the room. At one point, she even lunged at the camera, teeth bared like she was ready to bite. He watched in disbelief, unable to make sense of it. Was this really his grandma, or something darker pretending to be her? Red-eyed devil. Some places just give off bad vibes, and one man learned this the hard way. Feeling adventurous, he wandered into an old, abandoned building, expecting nothing but dust and old junk. But while poking around, he suddenly felt eyes on him. Turning around, he saw it. A huge, pale figure blocking the doorway, its eyes glowing red, staring straight through him. Just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished into the darkness. Panicked, he flicked on his torch, but there was nothing there. Trying to shake off the fear, he left without looking back, knowing deep down that some places are better left unexplored.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Moving doll. A family, curious about the odd things happening around their house, set up a camera in the living room to catch anything strange. They didn't expect what the footage revealed. Their doll, which usually sat perfectly still on a chair, suddenly turned its head, left and right, almost like it was looking around. No breeze, no one touching it, just the doll moving on its own. When they watched the recording, chills ran down their spines. Was it just a malfunction, or did something supernatural make the doll come to life? Scary sink.
The end of the hallway. The bathroom doors.
A man had been dealing with strange, eerie happenings in his home for days. One evening, he finally decided to record the unsettling events. As he walked into the bathroom, he pointed the camera toward the sink, hoping to catch something on film. That's when he saw it. A dark, creeping shadow under the sink, with glowing eyes staring back at him. His heart pounded as he zoomed in, trying to make sense of it. Suddenly, the bathroom door slammed shut on its own, making him jump. He quickly backed away, the camera still rolling. Shadow at window.
Bottom window. Bottom window.
It all started as just another quiet evening, until the daughter noticed something strange. From their house in the UK, she spotted a shadowy figure moving in the window of the neighboring home. Curious but uneasy, her dad set up a camera to see if he could catch whatever was out there. What he recorded was way creepier than they expected. A dark, shifting shadow moved across the windows, almost floating and changing shape like it had a life of its own. The family watched, chilled to the bone, as the eerie figure kept moving. Whatever it was, it didn't make sense, and the longer they watched, the more it felt like they were the ones being watched.
Tapping on the window out. There.
Yeah,
Top window.
yeah.
Lights and shadows.
So, me and my kid just got back from eating dinner, and my bedroom light is on.
After a fun night out, a woman pulled into her driveway with her child, just ready to relax. But something was off. The lights in the house were on, even though she distinctly remembered turning them off.
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't leave it on. Come on.
A nervous feeling crept over her as she wondered if someone had broken in. Then, just as she was about to go inside, she froze. A dark figure appeared at the window, caught briefly in the glow of the lights. Before she could even process it, the lights flickered and went out. Heart pounding, she stood there, unsure whether to go in or stay put. One thing was clear: whatever was in the house wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, I want you. Oh my god, somebody broke into her.
Ghostly encounter. A group of guys, looking for a thrill, decided to explore an old, haunted house. As they moved through the creaky dark hallways, one of them spotted something strange. A small figure peeking out from behind a wall. It was a little girl, her face unnaturally pale, just standing there, silent and still. Before they could even process it, she stepped into the hallway, staring at them with cold, lifeless eyes. Panic hit them like a wave. Without a second thought, they bolted out of the house, hearts pounding. Haunted hospital. Working in one of the most haunted hospitals in the world, the staff had grown used to strange occurrences. But one quiet night, something truly bizarre happened. As the corridors remained empty, a sliding door suddenly started moving, opening and closing all by itself. There was no one around, no draft to explain it. The door moved slowly, almost like someone unseen was pushing it. The video quickly went viral, leaving people torn between laughing it off as a glitch or wondering if it was something paranormal. Humanoid. Strolling through a cemetery, the person recording heard a strange noise coming from behind one of the tombstones. They zoomed in, and then this is what came out. It had long ears and a trunk like an elephant. The lower half was especially strange. First, it walked on two legs, and then got on all fours. Whoever was behind the camera felt uneasy, which startled the humanoid. It looked like the creature was about to move before the video abruptly ended. Creepy shed face. A girl was wandering through her backyard, enjoying a peaceful afternoon. Everything seemed normal until she rounded the corner near the storage shed. That's when she saw it, a pale face peering from the top corner of the shed. It looked like a young girl, just staring down at her. She froze for a moment, heart pounding, before cautiously stepping closer to get a better look. But when she reached the spot, the face was gone. Nothing was there, just the wind brushing past the empty roof. Being followed. This guy had been noticing some weird stuff happening around his house. Doors creaking and lights flickering. One night, he decided to set up a camera in the living room to see what was going on. The next day, he checked the footage and his heart sank. Right after he left the room, a shadowy figure appeared at the bottom of the stairs. It moved slowly, following him up without making a sound. The realization hit him. Whatever that was, it was right behind him the whole time. Ghost caught.
Got moving there. No.
In 2001, a family vacationed in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, hoping to explore the historic sites. While walking near a field, they noticed something odd, figures moving at the edge. Curious, they grabbed their old handycam and began filming. To their shock, the camera picked up ghostly silhouettes marching over a rock and then floating back into the trees. Since digital effects weren't common back then, people were stunned by the footage. Many believe they caught a glimpse of soldiers from the famous battlefield, their spirits still stuck in an endless march.
What is that?
Imaginary friend.
This dude's actually just...
One evening, a dad heard what sounded like a conversation coming from his son's room. Curious, he walked over and opened the door. Inside, his son was sitting on the floor, chatting happily, but no one else was there. When asked who he was talking to, the boy smiled and said it was his friend Edward, standing right in front of him. The dad glanced around, but the room was empty. The boy seemed completely sure that Edward was right there, even though no one else could see him. Without saying anything, the dad quietly left the room, closing the door behind him.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
Graveyard figure.
As you can see behind me here, we have a few gravestones.
A team of reporters was filming outside a cemetery, covering stories about recent paranormal activity. As they spoke to the camera, everything seemed normal, until later when they reviewed the footage. In the background, a tall figure appeared, wearing a long gown, just standing motionless behind them. The reporters hadn't noticed it at the time, too focused on their story. But when they looked back, it was clear. The figure wasn't human. There was no one else at the cemetery that day.
But what you can't see because it's dark out, and as you can see behind me.
Haunted farmhouse. A man had just bought a farm, thrilled to start a new chapter, completely unaware of the dark history it carried. One evening, as he sat in his car outside the farmhouse, something caught his eye. He looked up at the window and froze. A dark figure moved behind the glass, gliding slowly, barely visible in the dim light. His excitement quickly turned to dread. No one was supposed to be inside. Rocking chair chill. One quiet evening, a babysitter was sitting on the couch, watching TV while the child played nearby. Out of nowhere, the chair next to her started rocking back and forth, slowly at first, then with a bit more rhythm, as if someone invisible had taken a seat. She quickly called the child over, but they were far from the chair. Definitely not the cause. Feeling uneasy, she called the mother, who rushed home. When she arrived, the rocking had stopped, leaving behind only the eerie memory of what had just happened.
Just stay right here.
Friendly ghost. One evening, a man's mother was watching his nephew, her only grandson. Later, when the man spoke to his mom, she mentioned something odd. The boy claimed he was playing with another kid. He said his new friend was right there, even though the room was empty. Intrigued and a little spooked, the man decided to check the footage from a camera they had set up. What he saw was chilling. The boy was moving and talking, as if interacting with someone invisible. His gestures looked like he was playing with another child, but no one else was there. Dark figure. A family kept hearing strange noises at night, footsteps pacing around in one of the rooms, even though it was empty. After several sleepless nights, they set up a camera to catch the source of the sounds. The next morning, they nervously checked the footage. What they saw made their skin crawl. A dark, shadowy figure moved across the room, barely visible, but clearly not human. The outline seemed to change shape as it moved. Was it a shapeshifter? A restless spirit? No one had answers, but they knew one thing. The room wasn't as empty as they thought. Ghostly help.
This is why I'm late. Tell your mother the ghost is misbehaving.
Not all spirits are out to scare us. Sometimes they can even save lives. One man shared a video that proved just that. He was on the phone in the kitchen, distracted, not noticing the stove's flame had gotten way too high. Suddenly, the kitchen tap turned on by itself, startling him. He went to check, only to notice the fire dangerously spreading on the stove. Turning off the tap made him realize the potential disaster he just avoided. It was as if the unseen presence turned on the water to get his attention. An eerie yet life-saving moment caught on camera. Toy Story Terror.
Toilet or whatever, put Justin Bieber down where he likes to.
A father didn't believe his kids when they insisted their doll moved on its own. To him, it was just their imagination running wild. But one day, out of curiosity, he set up a camera in the bathroom to see for himself. The next morning, he watched the footage and his jaw dropped. The doll had indeed moved, shifting position slowly, with no one around to touch it. What he once dismissed as childish nonsense was now undeniable. The doll wasn't just a toy. It seemed to have a life of its own. Forest Gollum. This person is lucky to be alive. A golem-like creature was caught inside a forest after it failed to hide itself behind a tree. The creature looked really bizarre, and it didn't want to give away its existence. But soon, it quickly became intrigued by the person who found it. It also had a strange voice and was trying to communicate with the human, and the creepy being was later identified to be a wood imp. These mythical creatures are small, human-like entities that are cruel, greedy, and should be avoided. He is lucky to come out there alive. Tree creature. There is something about this video that has people feeling extremely anxious. An enigmatic furry creature was caught sitting on top of a tree in Maine, USA. This unidentifiable round entity was perched at the very top and was closely looking at the person recording it. It even turned around to get a closer look, and the more you look at it, the less this creature makes sense. It had no facial features that were visible other than a dark, abyss-like void all over it. The tree creature also looked eyeless, yet it's certain that it was staring directly at the person.
I'm gonna go climb the tree.
Doll's gaze. One day, a man was standing by his window, soaking in the view, when something weird caught his eye. Grabbing his camera, he zoomed in, only to spot a creepy girl with wide open eyes, staring right at him from a distance. His heart pounded as he tried to process what he was seeing, but as he adjusted the focus, he realized it wasn't a person at all, just a doll, oddly placed in a strange position. The fear faded, replaced by a nervous laugh, but the unsettling image stayed stuck in his mind for the rest of the day. Unholy Presence. While walking through the mosque at night, a man saw something that caught his eye. Sitting on the prayer cloth was an eerie figure, jiggling in a way that didn't look human. Its movements were unnatural, almost restless, as if it couldn't sit still. The dim light made the scene even creepier, and the man couldn't take his eyes off it. The sight was disturbing, breaking the usual calm of the sacred space. Whatever it was, it didn't belong there. Kitchen horror. A girl recorded the flickering lights in her kitchen one evening. Thinking it was just an electrical problem, she posted the video online without giving it much thought. But soon after, people flooded the comments, pointing out something chilling, a shadowy figure standing completely still behind the wall. She hadn't noticed it while filming, and realizing it now sent a shiver down her spine. The thought of someone, or something, being there while she was oblivious made her rethink her sense of safety at home. Campfire Terror. While camping one night, a man heard strange noises just beyond the campsite. Curious, he ventured into the darkness, his flashlight cutting through the eerie stillness. Then he saw it, a figure with long, tangled hair and a distorted face, watching him from the shadows. They locked eyes for a brief, terrifying moment before the figure vanished into the dark. Shaken, he quickly retreated to the camp, his heart pounding. Whatever that was, it didn't feel human, and the night suddenly seemed a lot less safe. Unseen eyes.
Pip? Come here, guy.
A pet video turned into a nightmare for one woman. Hoping to capture a cute moment, she pointed the camera toward her bedroom door, where two glowing eyes peeked out from the darkness. Smiling, she softly called her cat's name. Only one pair of eyes crept closer, revealing her cat. But the second pair didn't move. Confused, she froze, realizing she only owned one pet. Viewers of the video were just as shocked, watching as the second pair of eyes stayed perfectly still, watching from the dark, without explanation.
Pip? Come here, guy.
Hallway Doppelganger. It started as just a normal, quiet night. A father, settling into his new home, was jolted awake by his son's crying. Groggy but alert, he rushed into the hallway and there it was. A small figure, looking just like his son, was wandering down the hall. Confused, he followed, but then his wife's calm voice called out, saying their son was still in bed. Chilled to the core, they checked the security footage. What they saw left them speechless. A figure, clear as day on camera, moving through the house. But when they checked on their son, he was still fast asleep, right where they'd left him. Church lady.
Hello?
Sometimes curiosity gets the best of us, and one man learned that the hard way while exploring a forgotten church. Walking through the shadowy, empty space, he suddenly froze. Someone was sitting at the front. A woman in a white gown, her skin ghostly pale, sat completely still, eyes dark and hollow, staring straight ahead. The unnatural stillness sent chills down his spine. He didn't even think. He just screamed and ran out, barely remembering how he got back to his car. But even after he was safe outside, the haunting image of that eerie figure stayed burned into his mind, like a nightmare he couldn't wake up from.
Oh my God!
Mirror Girl. Old houses hold secrets, and one explorer stumbled into one he wished he hadn't. As he wandered through the abandoned place, he passed by a dusty old mirror. That's when he saw it. A girl with long, dark hair, just barely visible, peeking from behind the glass. Her face was mostly hidden, but there was something undeniably eerie about the way she seemed to watch him. His breath caught, and he couldn't help but stare back, rooted to the spot. Then, just as quickly, he forced himself to walk away. Basement footsteps. Late one night, a couple heard strange noises coming from their basement, like something moving around down there. Curiosity got the best of the man, and he cautiously made his way down the creaky stairs. At first, everything seemed normal, but just as he turned to go back up, he heard it. Heavy footsteps right behind him. Getting louder. His heart pounded as he spun around, but the basement was completely empty. Not wasting another second, he bolted back upstairs and locked the door.
Oh my god!
Alien visitor. Back in 2006, a man from Pensacola, Florida, thought it was just another night of peaceful sleep, but the footage from his surveillance camera told a different story. In the middle of the night, a strange yellow light filled his doorway. Then, a figure appeared, thin, with an oddly shaped head and long, lanky limbs, moving slowly and cautiously. It peeked around the doorframe, as if making sure it wasn't seen. The unsettling presence left everyone baffled. To this day, no one knows what that thing was or why it showed up, and the creepy footage still sends chills down viewers' spines. Haunted window. One evening, while out for a late-night walk, a man passed an old, worn-down house and heard some weird noises. Intrigued, he shone his flashlight at one of the windows. That's when he saw it. A pale, unmoving figure standing behind the thin curtain. The face looked human, but not quite right, like it was just off. It didn't blink, didn't move, just stared, completely still. The house seemed abandoned, but that figure stayed put, as if frozen in time. It felt wrong, like it wasn't supposed to be there, or wasn't expecting to be noticed. The subscriber's pick.
Every time I move closer.
Walking home late at night, this guy couldn't help but feel uneasy. Across the road, near a cluster of trees, he spotted something strange. A small, dark figure just standing there, completely still. It looked like a child, but the way it didn't move was off. It almost felt like the figure was watching him, even though the dim light made it hard to see clearly. He picked up his pace, trying to shake the feeling, but that eerie image stayed burned in his mind long after he left the spot behind.
Like a figurine.